Looks like this is recording. I just want to test my own voice, see how we can get this going here. All right, hi everyone. We're recording here. Just wanted to say that this is an amazing opportunity, as I said in the email, just that these students really have an opportunity to connect to a vision and connect to something greater than themselves that's going to be so much more powerful if they get it. And so I appreciate your assistance with this, because as as we talked about it, we're going to be looking at, hopefully through all this, higher test scores, higher engagement, higher graduation rate, higher participation, higher attendance, everything, because the whole idea behind this is to connect them to a vision. So let's go ahead and get started. The objective of this particular video is I just want to briefly run through the career presentation. I want to quickly break down the different assessments, and I want to show you what the follow-up project will look like. So this should cover pretty much everything for this initial project here. So when you go through the career project itself, just to cover these objectives here, you can read through those to potentially get started, although it might be beneficial when they walk in that essentially their bell ringer is these questions here, where they're going to think, pair, share. And make sure too you look at the notes here, because I left notes on the bottom of every single slide. So this is an interesting one to have them name all the different occupations and write those names out as they're thinking about it. And the winner can get a prize. If you have a prize, that's great. Otherwise, set them in a room 208. I have all kinds of prizes that they can get as well. Sorry, and have a follow-up conversation with both of these. Obviously, that's the idea, is to get them talking, to get them thinking, to get them realizing that, wow, maybe they don't know as much as they thought they knew. And then I think that this is a nice tie-in to the candy piece, and this is a pretty fun activity. Basically, they'll talk about their favorite candy. The whole concept behind this candy piece is to get them to think about, how did you even discover your favorite candy? And even though there's millions of candies and thousands of candies in the world, how do you know which one's your favorite? Well, you have to try different ones, and that's the idea with careers as well. We'll have the video piece. I know Miss Glenn's working on that right now, so we'll have this video piece, and this would be impactful. So really make sure there's full engagement with the video piece, and that follow-up conversation is going to be key. Here's the reflection piece of the video. Make sure that before you start this whole unit, that I'm assuming you all have Padlet accounts, so that they're definitely going to be posting, and that really will lead the whole unit, is really this question: what steps should someone take to figure out what they want to do and who they want to be? Because that's what we're doing through this whole senior project. So that is a key conversation to have. This 5 myths is just if you can't really get the conversation started, and I would go through each one and have them talk about. You could say freshman year is too early to start thinking about careers. Why do you think that is a myth? And then pose those questions. So the Kahoot, we're all the way down to the Kahoot game already. So if you go to the Kahoot game, if you see here in the notes section, if you see in the notes section, you can see that it has my username and the password. I didn't realize this was an option, but apparently you can actually search for the Kahoot game. I made it public to everybody. The name of this particular Kahoot game is English Career Quizlet, so you can search that and sign in on your own. But if you don't want to go through all those steps, I put my username and password. It's really no big deal. I trust everybody, so you can just go ahead and go on that one, which we'll do real quickly here. So if we go to create Kahoot IT. Hopefully, for the sake of you, my internet will be working today pretty fast. There it is. And then you go to your username and password, and if you're just putting in mine, that's fine. You can go ahead and do that here, and then we'll come to my Kahoots over here, and then there it is, the English Career Quizlet game. Click play, and then I believe you've all done the Quizlet, so you know how this works. And then at this point, they can join in with their number. There you go. So they go in on their device and they put this, and then they put their game code, and then we're ready to play. You might want to do something cool, like whoever has the coolest name out of side gets a starburst or gets a quick prize or something like that. That might be fun too, to just to add to all of it. And then yeah, then you go ahead and play the game. This is upbeat, it's fun. And then after certain questions, just let them know after certain questions you're going to be talking about some of the things, because some of these really will, hopefully, the whole idea is to get them to start thinking about their future, about the decisions they're making today, about all these different stats that are out there that don't necessarily suggest that if they're not strategic, then they're not necessarily going to have the life that they want. So that's kind of what this Kahoot game is also about as well. So there's that game. All right, now, so after you play the game, bring it all together, we recap, just talk, just get them again to think, and you might again have them have a discussion depending on how much time is left. Obviously there's a lot to do in 90 minutes, which is, you know, not a ton of time for all this stuff, but for the recap, just have them realize, you know, that this is really about them. And sometimes when I do this, I get them to think that, hey, listen, you know, when you're a young adult, when you're in high school, not every decision is about you, and not every choice is about you that happens in your life, and you'll have maybe parents or other people that make decisions for you. Well, this is an opportunity where they get to actually figure out about themselves. This is a cool opportunity. It's something that they want is autonomy. So they have this opportunity to really make that hard sell for them to truly buy into these assessments. Otherwise, they're just going to think it's a waste of time, which we know it's not. Now, the career cruising piece, I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about this one, because this is a key piece. Now, here's the thing about the career cruising is that, sorry, every time I try to click down here, it scrolls off. But here's the cool thing about it, or here's the interesting thing about career cruising is they might not all know their username and password. Everybody has a username and password. They might not all know it. So here are some their possible usernames, their Schoology login that should be their username, and then possible passwords. It could be Raiders16, it could be their student number. But if it's something they create on their own and they don't remember, that's something that you'll have to look up. But here's the good news. I put all that information, again, down here in the notes. So this is where you go to careercruising.com school, the username and password. I'll show you that really quickly here. So if you go to www.careercruising.com/school, this will pop up like this, and then you put in username is South Rowan, password is hi, advisor password is 12345. So this is just for you, not for the students, of course. This is administrative level. And then if you click here, so it'll look like this, that if you click to view student list, and then if you go ahead and click search for students, then you can search anybody. You put their last name. We'll just use Miss Wise's daughter. And then here you go. It shows her, here's her username, and as you can see, she created her own password, and then that's how they can get in. So this is a very critical piece. You'll want to have this up probably before you even start the lesson. So that's how they log in. Now for this particular assessment, this is probably the one that you'll do on day one. This is really the last thing that they'll do for day one. And then what's going to happen is they'll come in here and they will click on, this is critical, Start Matchmaker. Okay, I've been logged out for too long. So they'll go to Career Cruising. This is good for you to see anyway. because this is what they'll be seeing. So you go to careercruising.com, they type in their password, they type in their username and their password. By the way, Career Cruising, this is the site that they'll go to for their career cruising because it's specific to South Rowan. So then you go ahead and click on sign in. Okay, once they're in, they'll go to assessments. I believe I wrote all this right here too, so you'll have it again, but they click start matchmaker. They will put today's date and their grade level. So today's November, in this case, November 12th, 17. Their grade level, let's just say, is 9th grade. And since you're all English teachers, I want to be correct there since that's a title. All right. Then they just go through these. Now, when you talk about the actual assessment, make sure that they know. Try not to click does not matter and really read this more info. Again, encourage them not just to click through this. Otherwise, this will just be an assignment, and it's not. All the extra time you took will not matter if they don't buy into the fact that they can't just keep clicking. They have to really think through what they're clicking and make sure that they read the more info. Now, you see here, this is 39 questions. Have them raise their hand once they're done with 39. They're not done. Once they hit 39, there's 3 different segments. And if you're thinking, oh man, they're not going to want to take 116, I think is what the total is. That's not actually necessarily true. Every single honestly, every time I've done this, I've done this for several hundred students, I've never actually had any complaints because when I talk about after the first 39 questions, I always say it's like a friend. The more questions your friend knows, the more they get to know about you. That's the same with this assessment. It's just the more they get to, and it's about you. This is all about you. So, I never really have complaints about that, even though I thought I would as well. So just let them know that, hey, this is 3 segments, but again, the more your friend knows about you, the more they can help you, the more they can understand you. That's the same with this assessment. So once they click through all these assessments, the first 39, they're going to get to a page that looks like this. It looks like this. So they'll have their top 40 already, but because I've done this before, it shows that I've answered all 116, but they'll only have that first 39, so the bar will only be about right here. So there will be, instead of review my answers, it will say something like continue or something like that. So have them click this, and they click that, then it doesn't look like that. It's going to give them more questions, and then that'll be their second round, and then they'll have a third round after that. So there is that, and then let me just quickly go on to the personality test. This one takes the longest because there's that whole sign in and everything. This personality test is fairly simple. This is all about their personality, and it's all free to them. And the cool thing is the reflection piece is a really cool thing. They can create a username to store all this information. If they don't create a username, though, then they have to go through all this. As you can see, the assessment's not too long. It should take less than 12 minutes. Again, since it's so short, have them really key in and focus. And then they're done with this section. They go to next. They do it that a variety of times. And then at the very end of all this, try not to leave any answers neutral, similar to what we just talked about. Then at the very end of this, they will get a screen when they're done that looks like this. So this will show their results. What they need to do is take screenshots, because if they just close out, they're going to lose everything unless they've logged in. So they have to take screenshots of everything. And then they'll come here, explore your type. This is where they're going to be using a lot of this type of information, like strengths and weaknesses. They'll be using some of this for their actual project that they're creating. So it says here, even take screenshots of your results, strengths and weakness. So they want to have that, and if they could put it all in a folder, it'd just be easier for everybody. The third one here is my next move. This will get them to know their Holland's code, and I'll explain a little bit more about Holland's code. But if they go to mynextmove.org/explore/IP, they're going to get to take their test. It shows them everything to get started. Then they just go through this test. Similar. This isn't as many, though. This isn't as many questions. It's only 60 on this one, so they'll be feeling good about that. Plus, again, this is getting them to do their Holland's code. Now they might ask, well, why are we taking all these tests? Why are these two might seem similar? It's because it's not as much about the testing piece as it is about the follow-up piece, because they're learning their Holland's code, and what we want them to get to see is the jobs that are similar amongst these few assessments. Then those are probably, at least right now where they're at, the job fields that are worth exploring, because it means that if they've done it in similar tests, then obviously there's some consistency there. So when they're done with all this, they will get a screen that looks like this over here. And I don't know if you can see that really well, but let me just blow this up for the sake of this. You can see here that they will get a report. And this report will show them whichever one is the highest. So this is 33, 24, 24. So this is their Holland's code. So their Holland code is actually IRC or ICR. It's usually not tied, but since these two are tied, it would be ICR. So that would be their Holland code that they're going to get when they finish this. And then what they do with the Holland code is, well, I'll show you that in a bit here. And then last thing is their reality check. This is pretty sweet. So they go here to their nccareers.org /reality check, etc. So they're going to assume that they're single with no kids, because we don't want them to depend on somebody else. We want them to depend on themselves for this particular project. And then they're going to come down to whatever county they're in. In this case, we'll say they're in, not necessarily what county they're in right now, but what county they want to live in. So if we go to Rowan, let's say they want to live in Rowan County, there you go. Now, they go through all a series of questions about housing and what kind of car they want and what kind of lifestyle they want, basically. And then we get to the end, and at the very end they get a monthly budget report that will basically show them their minimum household income that they need to have in order to basically survive. So what they'll be seeing is if they want big cars and all these different things, and you got to remind them there will probably be a college debt that's involved, and that's one of the questions here. And there will probably be a car debt and all these different things. They're going to need tons of money that they might not have realized that they needed. Then there's careers that they give you through this assessment. There's careers that they give you that show what type of money you could be making. So that's that. I tried to make that as brief as possible, but again, I was going to show you this all on a day that we couldn't make work, so this is our substitution for that. So bear with me here. And then their actual project. This is going to take some time, of course, but I think the idea, like we talked about before, is so at the end of day one, they will be taking the career cruising and starting on the career cruising portion of this project to the left. And then day two, for maybe their bell ringer, they're doing the personality assessment, and then they do this portion for the personality assessment. Day three, this and this. Day four, this and this, and then I would give them an extra day where they're putting all the pieces together, because this is a big project. But again, the impact is worth the return on investment. The impact is, assuming it's all done right and the kids buy into it, which they should for the most part, the impact could be a game changer. It can change the course of their life. So what they'll do is when they take their career cruising, they're going to get started here. Here's my name, my future, my grade, my picture, etc. And you'll have all these step by step, so you'll know exactly what they're doing. Then they come here, and so like we talked about before, when they take their career cruising, they'll get a list that looks like this. Just have them screenshot their top 10 here, and they'll plug it in number 2 right over there. So questions for them to consider: what I learned about myself while taking this. What are some careers I'm interested that I didn't consider before? Any careers I was interested that aren't in my top 40, and why? And what are 5 careers I'm interested in that I want to learn more about? This is pretty. Question number 3 especially, I have a lot of times people say, oh, I want to be a nurse, and then they realize nursing wasn't even close to their top 40. Then they wonder, because you can go back in, by the way, and when you click on these, you can look at why was this chosen for you? It's based on your answers here. And so for nursing, for example, in fact, this is one I took. I can promise you nursing won't be on it for me because I'm not a huge fan of biology. So I'll click on nurse and I'll see, because nursing is a pretty popular field, but not everyone knows what it involves. So providing medical care and being interested in human biology are both dislikes. So naturally, it's not going to be chosen for me. And that's the idea. We want them to see these things. Then there might be some careers of interest that they hadn't considered before. They didn't even know about, that were on their list. And so you really just want them to go through their list and just kind of get a feel. They can also tag the ones that they're interested in. So let's say they come down here and they say, oh, cool. Well, corporate trainer, I never considered that before. And they just do some brief skimming at a glance, try to figure out, what is this all about? Man, I can make decent money. Here are the core tasks. That's pretty cool. Then they come over here and they say, you can save this to your EDP. So you click, I'm going to remove it right now, but if you save this to your EDP, then now on your EDP page, you will have the top choices that you made. So that's pretty cool, and they can always remove it. You click remove, but otherwise, yeah, you can save this to your EDP, and your EDP is your individualized plan. And at the moment, I can't remember exactly how to get there, but I don't think it's very hard. I think it's found through one of these pages. Well, if it's a big deal for them, I can figure that out. And if you want me to show you that, I can show you that at some time after I do a little digging. So I apologize for that. But they can still save it to their EDP. I would encourage them to. Otherwise, just have them write down their top choices as they are interested. So then you come. So that's the first part of career cruising. But there's going to be a final part at the very end. Then they come to the personality test. This is where I said make sure that they take screenshots, because this shows them their personality. This person's personality is workplace. So you'll see they take a screenshot saying the workplace. Then here's the thing, and then here's the next portion. It's they go to their strengths and weakness, because it asks, all right, so the next slide is, so what are your strengths and weaknesses? So you come down here. So this is what they'll get after they take the 16 personalities. This is their strengths and weaknesses. Have them take a screenshot of their strengths and their weaknesses just to remember what they are. They don't need to put their strengths and weaknesses up. All they have to do here is put, here are my strengths. I'm original, bold, excellent people skills. Original, bold, excellent people skills. They just need to put 3. And then what are their weaknesses? Their weaknesses are they're sensitive. They don't like conflict. They're easily bored for this particular personality type. And then they talk about what are some things I can do to work on that. So I'm sensitive. I can take myself out of the situation and not take criticism so personal. That's something that this person can do. All right, so now we're going to dive a little bit deeper. Ways my personality type is misunderstood, and advice for people working with me how to deal with my personality type. So this is more of just a critical thinking piece. There's not necessarily an answer here, but they would kind of inference an answer through everything they read about themselves. And this is extremely accurate. If you come to the bottom, you can read these comments. Me exactly. This is me. Yep. Truly 100% me. I think it hits a home base. So again, if they're really taking this seriously, they will see the same, and this will speak to them. That's, again, the idea for them to really get to know themselves a little bit more. And then, so ways my personality type is misunderstood. So as someone who expresses themselves and easily bored, I may come off to others as I don't care about them, as I don't have a lot of patience and always want to have fun. So that's the way they're misunderstood. And then what's advice for working with people in order for them to deal? Well, get me on your team, like get me to buy in, As an entertainer, I can be the life of the party. If we can work together and I can buy into what you're doing, great things can happen. So this is for them to dive deeper about themselves and other people, giving them advice to work with them. And then you have the work environment. What are 5 things I need in a work environment to be successful? If you come here to Workplace Habits, they can read through this where it talks about entertainers thrive on change and new ideas. So I need some freedom in my workplace. I need change and not repetitive and strictly defined tasks. I got all this over here from Workplace Habits. And then we're moving on to the Holland's Code. So the Holland's Code, again, as we talked about, and I told you earlier that I'd go back to that. So the Holland's Code, if I could find it here. Oh, here it is. Sorry about that. Wow, where is that? Holland's Code. Interesting. Okay. So the Holland's Code, if they go to, here it is. If they go to onetonline.org/explore/interests /interests. There it is. That's where they can actually see. Here are their codes. So they take their assessment, they get this, just to blow it up again, where they can actually see investigative was their number 1, and then conventional and realistic were number 2 and 3. So they will put, then they'll highlight this, then they'll say, I would be an IRC, and since investigative was 1, realistic was 2, conventional was 3, they'll say IRC. And then this website here will actually show them a little bit about, here's what investigative means, here's what realistic means, here's what conventional means. So they'll do that piece. And then top 5 careers of interest. So now if you go to, here, this is a pretty cool site because you put your number 1's realistic in this case. Number 2 was investigative, I want to say, or IRC. So IR is your secondary, and conventional is your third. So investigative is your strongest, realistic second, conventional is third. It will actually show you careers that match the 3 of those interests, you could say. So then again, they come through here. Now here's a really cool piece. Get this. This is a cool piece of this whole thing. So they break it down into different job zones. This is based on the amount of education you need. So job zone 1 is going to be your very basic, as you can see, logging equipment operator. And so there's not a ton here because there's not a lot of jobs that require you. I believe this is just a high school diploma. And then this is job zone 2. And there's a breakdown for this, but job zone 2, I believe, is you might need a little bit of additional training and a high school diploma. So they show you what jobs there are there. And then if they're like, well, I want associates, this is typically, computer user support. This is typically somebody with an associate's degree or further training there. And then 4 would be a more professional degree, maybe a bachelor's degree. And then 5 is like your master's, doctorates. It looks like 5 is your doctorates. 4 is probably your bachelor's and master's. So they can it breaks it down by job zones, which is really nice too. So all these are chosen based on their top 3 codes there. So that's pretty in depth, pretty cool. So now they come up with top 5 careers of interest based on their Holland's Code. Now, again, the idea, because at the very end, they're going to choose 3 careers that they really are interested in. We want them to have some parallels here, but they're not just pulling like vet tech. It needs to be a chosen one for them. They're not just going and doing the exact same as the ones above. That would defeat the whole purpose. They need to pull these from their Holland's codes. And because, again, hopefully, if they do them right, they're going to see parallels, and there might be some of the same ones, but they need to make sure that these answers are from their Holland code. Now, last is that reality check piece. So I showed you where the reality check looks like. And then they just go through questions about money. So what did this teach me about money? What did I learn about myself? Did I have to make changes? How much money do I need to make to survive? What type of occupations do I need to make this money? So again, hopefully the idea they might see, oh man, I need $100,000 job, but I want to be a occupational therapy assistant. They're not going to make $100,000. It's told me I need $100,000 based on what my lifestyle is. Either I need to choose a different career path, or I need to not have so many wants. So that's the idea behind this questionnaire piece. And then at the very end, they're going to make top 3 career choices. So based on all this information, based on their career cruising results, based on their own personality type and what type of jobs they're looking for in the work environment, based on their Hollins codes and their career interests, and based on what they need as far as money-wise, they are going to come up with what are my top 3 career choices. So this person chose physical therapy assistant. They chose their top 3 job tasks, attributes and abilities, medium salary, education required, 3 related careers, their own at, 2 things they like and 2 things they dislike. It seems like a lot, but it's actually quite easy. This part didn't take me that long. I made this sample here. This part did not take me that long because, get this website pretty much has everything for them. That career cruising website has almost everything for them. So let me show you how cool this is. Let's click on marketing specialist. So this is something they want to explore more. Well, for their top 3 job tasks, if you come here to at a glance, it shows. Here are my core tasks. Top 3 job tasks. There you go. Attributes and abilities. Here's what I need to be successful in this job. And I would also encourage them to read the workplace. It wasn't a part of this project, but it's good to know again what they're going to be doing in the workplace, and again making sure that aligns with what their personality type is. And then we come down to median salary. If you come over here, you have your earnings, median salary. Then they go through. There's your median wage. Wow, I can make potentially a lot of money as a marketing specialist. And then what type of education is required. This will show you, but usually you have to read through. It's not very user-friendly, but I'll show you the ONET online for them. And ONET, it might be more user-friendly for them. But you can see here, a bachelor's degree is what typically they're going to need in this field. In the liberal arts, master's or bachelor's degree. So they'll probably need a bachelor's degree. So they would write bachelor's degree, but a master's would be helpful because that's what master's is helpful. Then 3 related careers. Well, if you come here to related careers, you get all kinds. So they just need to mention 3. And then if you look at the job outlook, okay, well the job outlook actually, if you go to ONET online, let's see if it's one of these. Oh, you can just go to ONET online, and then we type in this case it was marketing specialist. Marketing specialist, you come down to the bottom here, and it shows you your outlook right here under wages and employment trends. So in this case, they're looking to hire 151,000, which is much faster than the average. So this would be a good field to get into. And it shows bright outlook at the top. If it gives that indication, you know that this is probably a good field to get into. So this is, again, having the discussion of thinking about what type of jobs will be available to them in their market is going to be a key piece to what they choose to go into. And then there's the what do you like? Not what do you like and dislike, but what does the person that is being interviewed like and dislike? Here's another cool feature about career cruising is they always interview a male and a female. So you get down to the bottom, and it actually says, you can read through the questions here, but it actually shows, here's what Jim likes about the job. 3 things that he likes. The first thing is a constant change. Second thing is creativity involved. So they actually interview these people. And this is a feature too. They show a day in the life of, so they actually break down what a day would look like. And then there's 2 dislikes, 2 things that they don't really like. So this is really a key piece as well. And then at the very end, it's something still interested in after research, and is this a good fit? You want them to get to think, is this a good fit? Is this not a good fit? So they're going to do that for 3 careers. This part really didn't take me long once I had all the answers. This part might have taken 5 minutes apiece, if that, because as you can see, the answers are pretty easy to come by. Oh, and by the way, I was talking about how on ONET, You can go to the this is an easier read for the education section, so they can use this. As you can see, the vast majority of people in this job need a bachelor's, and only 21% need a master's. So this is bachelor's is the primary job requirements, or education requirements, I should say. Then you get to the very end. The very end has you take 3 pictures of things, visual pictures of things that matter to you or that you want. So this person chose they want to graduate from high school, I imagine. They want to be a physical therapy assistant is what this person came up with, and they want to own a nice house. So then they write basically their graduation speech, which is, today I stand before you, my friends and my family, and I've graduated 4.0, and then they go on to just talk about they couldn't have done it without these people. So again, getting them to tie into a vision that's greater than themselves. And then the very last slide is, okay, what are the next steps? They're supposed to say if they could give anything to anyone, who would it be? They chose, I would give my mom the opportunity to watch me graduate with a 4.0 GPA. That's what my mom wants. And here, what are my action steps to getting there? Well, I need to get that 4.0 this semester. We need to start there. I will not skip any classes this semester, and I'll talk with a career coach or a counselor about things I can do now to set me up for success. All right, that's how you find everything. This took longer than I anticipated. I apologize, but there's so much good information here that will help you be successful, and in turn help these kids be successful, and again connect to something beyond themselves, beyond the 4 walls, and realizing how impactful and how much of a change this can make them. So thanks for doing this with me. Let me know if you have any questions.